Chef Ian on the YouTube channel. Peace to the gods and the goddesses. Today we have a divine message for the Lions Gate Portal. Now, let's explain this and what it means first, right? Because recently I've been focusing on cosmic identity, right? And I want to get a little bit into what that is and cosmic destiny. And so we have now been living in a time where man has forgot his cosmic self, right? And when I say man, I'm talking about human, I'm talking about light minds, right? Hue speaking on the spectrum of light, right? And man meaning mind. So that light mind meaning that you have activated consciousness with awareness, meaning that you know yourself, you see yourself, you understand yourself. And you have that ability to let the helicopter go by. You have that ability to see yourself and to understand yourself. You are one of the humans. See, a prime ape does not have the mind of a man, doesn't have the light mind. The light mind can understand, the seasons. And once they start understanding the seasons, right, you take it back to ancient Kemet, the land of the blacks. The reason that they were so powerful because they understood how to align, right, agriculture and farming with the seasons so that they can crop the land. So therefore that they can feed mass groups of people and civilizations. But if they didn't understand that cosmic connection, right, they didn't understand the cycles and the seasons, then they wouldn't have been able to do such a thing. So it was when man started to understand the cosmos, then he started to evolve.
1 second. Use that receiver because it's has like some kind of sound coming from it.
Oh man, I thought we was good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me put the receiver on. They're telling me I need to uncool it and bring it down here. So it was when man started to tap into the cosmos that we started to evolve. Our evolution has literally been in alignment with the stars, right? If you go back into ancient times, there were some of the most advanced technology of ancient days was called the astrolabe. Anybody knows what the astrolabe is? Anybody know what the astrolabe is? The astrolabe was essentially a device that they used to chart the stars, to understand what time it was, right? It was this device that was essentially like the first iPhone, right? They would take this and then they could align the stars up to let you know what time of the year it is, what time of the day that it was. But this device was so intricate that it did multiple things. Now, this arose out of the Islamic era because the Islamic era had arisen so much astronomy and so much science, right, during that time. So you would have to imagine that there were people who were walking around with these devices that you all can look up, and you're going to see these very technological devices that they had in their hand that they will move around and they can understand what time it is, where they are in the universe by putting it up to the sky and aligning it with the stars, right? And great kings and leaders always had astronomers to the point where they wouldn't go to war unless they had the astronomer tell them to do so first, right? And so man always understood his cosmic destiny. He always understood cosmic alignment. We started to get out of that when you start charting your realities based upon, you turn it down, you start charting your reality based upon local events. But cosmic events is how you know what time that you are in. So today we're in the time of the Lionsgate portal, and that's when the sun aligns with the Sirius, which is the brightest star in the sky, which means that it has double the power of the sun. So therefore, you get that 8-8, these infinite power aligned. Right now, on days of these side of alignments, why does it matter? And as we talk about divine, we're talking about your higher self, your cosmic self. What does this really mean in application on a regular day? See, if you're looking at the time that we in and you saying, well, these are the times of the federal election, that's not the time that we in. No. You looking at how the days have been made by these Greek gods. Oh, it's storage day because it's Thursday. Nah, that's not the time that we truly in. That's not the time. Today is when we are having a Lion Gate portal, when the Sirius brightest star in the day is aligned with our sun, and therefore it opens up an opportunity for more energy. Now, why does this matter?
So there are days in which the sun produces more energy towards the earth. There are cycles in which this happens in 11-year cycles, right? So what happens when the earth is sending that much energy, or the sun is sending all of that electromagnetic energy in form of radiation to the earth, humans are affected by it. There has been studies to show that there are physiological connections between breathing patterns, mood, and societal behaviors based on electromagnetism of the sun. So there are certain times when the sun produces more energy, more sunspots than other times. And this can actually be correlated throughout times throughout history to see how it affected the way that we think, how we shifted in our consciousness. Now, how this affects human beings is very interesting because think about summertime. In summertime, we're getting so much energy that's hitting the earth, right? And it's hitting the people of earth. So you would have to look at it as like Superman getting extra sun. So now he has extra energy. If Superman's getting all this extra sun, where is he going to put this energy at? So this excessive energy can be toxic or it can be tonic. So if you're getting too much energy, you're going to want to do something with it. So in environments to where you don't have a proper outlet, all of this energy can create a chaotic environment of excessiveness. Sometimes it turns into violence, turns to chaos. It makes you want to disrupt things. You got a lot of creative energy. Creative energy is a disruptive force because it comes and it changes and it shifts everything. You start thinking, you start getting all these extra thoughts. You're thinking about how you want to change the world, how things are not enough. So human beings go through their biggest shifts when you have an excess amount of energy here on Earth. So therefore, we start to have planetary shifts. We start creating new technology, right? The women get powered up in their womb and they start pushing more progressive women ideology and movements on the planet Earth. This is a fact. Actually, I'm writing a book about this to where I'll be breaking it down how you can stay in connection with the cycles of your cosmic self, right? There's what we call cosmic anxiety, to where you don't have when things that are so far above your head, right, are happening and you don't have an ability to have any control over that. It gives you anxiety because you feel hopelessness. You understand me? So when we talking about having this excess energy, you have to understand these days. Otherwise, you can be caught up in it doing something that's not good for you because you're trying to release this energy in some capacity, not knowing that this should have been a day where you was releasing it towards a focus of yours. That's why when people are preparing for these days and they're like, oh, I'm gonna think about this and put this in my business. I'm gonna put this towards my future self. They are literally getting that energy that is coming down from the heavens and then they're projecting it, right, unto something that they want to manifest. So therefore, they're not walking around with this excess energy, using it in ways that can be corrupting, having them off target because they don't have any focus towards what they should be doing, which is why people prepare for these days. Let me cleanse my body. Let me get my mind right. Let me get my soul right. Let me get my energy right. So on these days, people think these days are meaningless and you miss out on the power of the day. Because if you understand the power of the day, then you understand how you can use it. So when we look at, there's a system in the Anunnakis, right, where there was the Council of the 12. Council of the 12 were the masters of the destiny of the planet Earth. They are the ones who plan for human affairs, right? And so there's always been scientists and always been wise ones that will plan for thousands of years ahead. So let's say if you want to plan for the next 3 months, how do you do that? You're going to look at cycles. In economics, you're going to look at economic cycles. Where are we? Are we in a recession? Are we in a depression? Is the economy booming? Well, what has happened previously during this time? You may go look at past cycles of the last 100 years to see how people reacted during these times. So therefore, you not just knowing where you are, you know when you are, and history repeats itself. So you understand the conditions that you're under. Just like in weather, if you look at the weather system and the weather system said it's going to be rainy, then you're going to prepare by putting on a coat. You're going to prepare by grabbing your umbrella. But in life, we go through different cosmic cycles. So what is that preparation of putting on that proverbial coat when you stepping outside? How are you preparing for the conditions that you're about to be under? We in that same thing. So as scientists or the councils would prepare, sheesh, as the councils would prepare for thousands of years in the future, how could you do that? How could you prepare for thousands of years in the future? Think about that as fathom. Let's say 25,000 years in the future. 25,000 years in the future? You can't plan like that. We could barely plan for the next week. We could barely plan for next week. But you've got to think about how much in a God mindset you got to be planning thousands of years ahead. Think about how much in a God mindset you got to be just to plan hundreds of years. What it means is shit, when you stuck and you just trying to plan next week, this all you see. This is next week planning. This is just groceries, bills, right? Little things that you planning for. You trying to plan just the next 25 days. That's all that is. That's all you see. That's survival. But the more you look out, the bigger the plans become. The bigger the ideas become, right? The bigger of the God you become, right? So now you thinking not just on local affairs, not just on state affairs, on federal affairs, on global affairs, but cosmic affairs. And it changes. So you can be a revolutionary at the local affairs or the governing affairs. Or when you're talking about cosmic affairs, that's when you have certain minds that come, right, to prepare the world for global shifts. They're going to change, and that doesn't go in just day-to-day just actions. It goes into the ideas that govern the world. These are the ideas that's going to govern the world, because ideas become entities that the younger generation grows up into and believe and projects that over the reality. This is why there is a constant state of never letting the black mind be fed with the ideas of his divine or her divine self. Because they have to control the sphere of thinking that if you are now programmed, if you're watching the Olympics every day for the rest of your life and you're seeing all these black bodies do these amazing things, these cosmic bodies, you seeing these cosmic bodies, man, they out there running and sprinting, and it looks like they're in the back, and then they get to the front and they say they're gonna do it, and then they do it, and they wearing grills and they flipping and doing amazing things. Man, you start getting programmed with, maybe that's who I am. Maybe that's who we are. All of a sudden, you start planning a little bigger. Because these are children that plan for 10 years ahead. These are children planning for 5 years ahead. Olympics, so another 4 years. You may be thinking about the next president. They thinking about the Olympics. How I'm going to be the best in the world. And we have global Olympics. How am I going to utilize this light body and this consciousness to project myself in the future and then live it and make myself that thing? That's when you start getting godly with it. You start operating at a godly level. So again, how do we plan for 1,000 years ahead? How do we plan for 25,000 years ahead? Because all of a sudden, all we've gotten talking about right now is planning for 4 years, maybe 5. We start talking about things beyond 10 years. Now we got to think a little bigger. Now we got to have vision. You talk about planning 10 years ahead, you got to have some vision. So when somebody asks you, yo, what's your vision? Right? They're trying to get you to think beyond this bubble about your emotions, feelings, thoughts, families, little things. They're trying to get you to project yourself into your higher self, someone who has reached a different point to where you are. So now you got to get an idea, but then you have to get in touch with yourself in a sense that you have to connect with your gifts. We don't talk enough about gifts. Gifts are very important. Gifts are things that you have been granted with by the divine based on the matrix of your DNA, based on the way that your DNA is made. There's something in you. There's a way about you can do things that other people can't do. I have a gift of influential communication. I have a gift of being to consolidate vast amounts of information and simplify it to the mind. That's a gift of mine. It's different than my skills. Skills are things I develop, but gifts, oh, those are things you're born with. You have to be gifted certain things. Certain things that separates people. So you can't be jealous of somebody's gift and the rewards that they receive from that gift, because you gifted with something else as well. That's your power. That's what your genes express. That's what makes the X-Men, right? And the X-Men, everybody has a different gift because it's based on what your genes express. You got that X gene. You got that melanin, that light body. You feel me? You got a different type of gift. Some people are short burst. Some people are fast burst when they out there running. Some people can keep going for long distances. Their body is just made different. Some people have short torsos, short legs, long legs, right? Some people have a gift of hand-eye coordination, being able to move fast. Some people have intelligent gifts, kinesthetic gifts, spiritual gifts. We all got different ones, and this is a season where you activate them. So when you activate your gift, you may be the one that come up with the vast vision. You may be the one that guides the vision. You may be the one that leads the vision. But you got to understand your gift to even be really useful on this planet. And those who are truly gifted, the problem is that society tries to dumb down and say, well, if you don't have money, then you're not special. Money is not. Sometimes a person gift may be getting money. That's their gift. They can attract money. They can make money because they gift is focusing on this thing that happens to be connected to the capitalist structure of the free market, and so they're getting money. But you could be more gifted in the area, but because this planet does not represent or appreciate that, then maybe you have less money. Doesn't mean, right, that you less special. You could be the greatest artist in the world, but maybe you don't know how to sell. But then maybe somebody else is a terrible artist, but they're the greatest salesman in the world because their gift is communication. So therefore, you now focus on your gift because you watching the way someone else's gift shows up because they happen to be in time and on time with their gift. Somebody else can be dry at all these things, but they're great at marketing. So they can take something mundane. You can be good at creating 1,000 flavors of lemonade. That's your gift. But they only know how to make one. And then they take that and they can market it to thousands and millions. So therefore they make money because that's the way their gift shows up. So your goal is to take the way that your gift shows up and customize it based on the time that you're living in. How do I wrap my gift is the question. Because presentation is everything. So there's one artist that's good at creating. Technically, they're amazing, but they don't know how to wrap their gift to where the world wants it. So they get a lot of followers, but not a lot of supporters. So they get friend zoned by they audience. I like you, but not that much. And then somebody else with less. So this is why we have to be gifted in multiple areas in life. I want to make sure that y'all join me in the High Level Club because we're going to be doing these things, helping people wrap their gifts and unwrap their gifts as we go through mastering your highest level. It's going to be a 6-week breakdown. We're going to get into this. But before I get there, y'all comment High Level or go to 19keys.com to apply to be a part of it. But let me further. So again, I ask you, how do you plan 25,000 years ahead? Well, let's say if you want to plan 1,000 years ahead. Let's unwrap this. You want to plan 1,000 years ahead. Well, you say, well, Keith, how do we do that? Some people say, I'm just living by the day. I'm just an individual. Might not be for you. I'm talking about people who want to plan ahead. Well, how has the rich and powerful planned ahead? Well, the first level of planning is to insert the gifts and the ideas and the knowledge into yourself. So you have to put it in your DNA, right? So you're registering all this in your DNA before you have a child. Woo! I'm gonna get to why that's important, right? So let's say the average lifespan of somebody that's living is 75 years, right? So you can plan for the next 75 years because that's how long you will be alive. So you can spew ideas, you can push ideas, you can implement ideas into yourself, you can experience and expose and educate yourself to different things. Those are the E's. So why are you putting everything inside yourself? It's because 50% of your DNA will be given to that child, and DNA is a storehouse of memory. So your gifts, half of your gifts will be given to your child. Half of your knowledge will be given to your child. Half of your experiences will be given to your child. So you pick somebody as well so that now you're preparing them so that they gifts, their knowledge, their experience, their exposure is in that child as well. So now it goes from planning, let's say you have a child at 25 years old, right? So now that child lives another 75 years. So that's 100 years right there. Then that child does the same thing when they pair. This is the science of mating. They pair with somebody else, then they come together and combine these gifts. And then through each generation, because 25% of that is going to come from the grandfather and the grandmother. So the more generations you get into it, the more dense those gifts become through each generation. So you don't just want to mate with anybody. Oh, I'm in love with this person. That's enough. No, it's not. Because when you had that child go wish you chose a better partner so that they could have became a better person. Just born with the gifts. The first inheritance is your gifts. That's your first inheritance. That's your first level of wealth. Then it's the development of that. And it's the unwrapping and wrapping of that. So now imagine I got my grandchildren and I'm their grandfather. Well, they got 25% from me. Then I developed my son, right? Now it's more dense. They got 50% from them. And then on the other side, boom, this is why you don't want to have going, you want to mate into bloodlines that have these gifts in them. No, we don't want to be mating with bloodlines as we got to now erase 25% of the trauma that they inherited from their great grandparents, right? And then another 15 from the great 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 grandparents. No, that's not what we want to do. So when you first generation, you have to learn about what's in you so you can get that out of you, so you overcome that, which then allows you to change your DNA. So by the time you're having a child, it's cleansed. And either it's out of you or they have the knowledge to overcome it. Then you give them an environment to activate it. So now you have a child and you planning, let's say they live in 100 years. Each child living 100 years. So now you planning 200 years into the future just by having great grandchildren. Then your great grandchildren, you planning 300 years. You having 4 great 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 grandchildren. You 500 years in the future. 500 years of your ideas, your knowledge, your sciences, your spiritual development, your leadership, your philosophy, your ways now on the planet. So now you want to plan 1,000 years. All you're doing is planning how to develop yourself. You can plan 1,000 years into the future just by developing yourself to the highest level and planning based on that development. So that's why families will set up a trust. Oh, the only way that you can inherit this money is if you follow this way and you do this, because they understand that once you stop following protocol, then the plan no longer is working. Oh, you about to go find somebody outside the family, and every movie try to make it seem like a bad thing when the families get mad or you don't want to be somebody in this hierarchy. No, it's just that we've lost the science of mating. And they didn't teach it to the poor person because they didn't want you to be developing these families that would then challenge their existence. So they made it seem like it was a bad thing to start planning this way. But no, that's the way that you rule over time. It's through family, because family is a vehicle. It is a ship of time. I can put an idea in my mind in 1,000 years in the future, and ascendant from my lineage will be the production of that idea. Thousands of years in the future. Think about it. People are not remembered. The ideas of those people are remembered. The ideas of those people are remembered. But then there are certain bloodlines who've been running things for a long time. Every president comes from the same bloodline. You got kings in Africa still, queens, chiefs. They all come from the same bloodline. They can't even inherit it unless they got the bloodline. They got to be on a certain side of the family, depending on which one it is, or where it is, rather, where that practice is. Because they're practicing passing it down over time. See, the Akan people in Ghana used to wear the sun, the moon, and the stars. It represents the child of the star. It represents that man and that woman coming together. It represents chieftain of the higher mind and the divine self in presence. That's why I walk around with the sun, moon, and stars on them at all times. It represents that I'm connected to my cosmic self, identity, and destiny, that I know who I am, and that you move according to that science. Those are people of a higher nature that operate and ascend the mundane politics of the world. Oh man, I might be giving y'all a little bit too much on this good portal day. I promise you. So we developing this new product. It's a lion's mane product, but it's so concentrated and so potent. Oh man, my mind feeling euphoric right now. The energy on this good day, man, it got me ready to roll. Oh man, it got me ready to roll. Y'all better take some of that. Y'all better go to goldwater.com, man. Go to goldwater.com and go order you a bottle of some of that sports moss and get some of that. Get one of every product, man. Get you some of that gold water. Get you a little bit of everything. Get you a little bit of everything. I'm gonna put a code up there for you. I'm gonna be a little bit nice today. You can put that code up there. That code is. Do y'all want the code? It's 30% off for the day. All right, where's the code at? My sister sent me this one. I don't think I shared it yet. So you go to goldewater.com. The code is 30 high level. That's 30 high level. That's spelled all the way out. HIGHLEVEL at checkout. 30 high level to get 30% off. Yeah. So if y'all want to support the platform so we can continue to grow, continue to put out messages like that, you know what I'm saying? We don't have a campaign fund, but this is our campaign as president of the people to continue to lift and uplift. We don't ask for money, we reciprocate instead. All right. So you type in Goldwater in the comments and we'll send you an automatic link if you're on Instagram. All right, let's get back to it though. So now we learn how to plan 1,000 years into the future. Now, how you get to this point, right? And I got a little more for you as well. You planning 1,000 years in the future, and there's other ways to plan like that. You can plan 1,000 years in the future by paperwork, right? So you set up trust, you create constitutions, you create Magna Cartas, you create judgments, right? The four corner, right? We on the 8-8 portal day, but 4 times 4, that's 16, but it always goes to that 8 because the 4x4 is like the phone. These are black mirrors that have corners of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's the same thing with paper, right? So what we do is that's why they have scrolls and they write it on paper. They learn those secrets from ancient chemists, right? They learn those secrets by the Sumer, right? When they was utilizing that papyrus, that paper. But that 4-corner destiny, that 4-corner contract is when you're utilizing and you're putting ideas and you're spelling ideas of energy on 4 corners. Now, it is a contraption of control. You understand me? It is a picture. You understand why don't we? But it also keeps energy trapped into it. It's very powerful using paper. That's why writing things down on paper will always be powerful. But if you look over the planet Earth, this planet is built on 4s. You know what I'm saying? We built our houses with 4x4s. Our doors are 4x4. The windows are 4x4. Right? It's very powerful that they keep people in this energy trapped in. So if you want to plan over time, you write something on paper, there's an agreement to what's spelled on paper. That energy is now trapped into it and it transcends space and time. So something that was written by men in the 1700s known as a constitution is still being enforced today. You want to create an entity known as a business, right? You have to incorporate, which is pouring energy into a body, which is giving life. So they took the same science of life and they turned it into a metaphysical recreation, right? On how we create companies. It has to have a head, it has to have a body, the whole and nine. So as we start talking about planning 1,000 years ahead, number one, this is why every family needs a trust. Right? This is why we write out wills. You write out what is the legacy of the family? What does it mean? Every family used to have like a family Bible back in the day, right? Who was that family? What that mean? You would understand, you would have a family tree. That family tree would be connected back decades, if not hundreds of years. So you have written record about who you are. So when a child is born, the child would then study that to know who they are, what's inside them, and what they want to produce and or develop out. So now you planning 1,000 years ahead. So let's talk about planning 25,000 years ahead. There was always a select few on this planet Earth that govern human affairs. It was never the full body politic. Human beings have never, ever, ever, ever truly existed under any democracy on this planet Earth, ever, including America. America is a constitutional republic. It is not a democracy. Never has been, never will be. There has never been a true democracy on this planet Earth. It has always been governed by one or many, but the minority many, meaning like a small council of men or women. There's never been, because the group majority does not operate with logic. So it is not actually feasible and it is not actually intelligent to have the masses govern themselves, because the masses, once they're combined with all of these bodies get together, when you got thousands of bodies that come together, they're no longer conversing about logic. It's so much energy that it's like an ocean. So they're moved based on the emotions, the feeling of the crowd, not the actual right logic and the rationale and the reasoning. So therefore, the crowd is going to want what settles their emotions at the moment, not what's best for their life in the future. So therefore, you have speakers that are politicians, that are leaders. They speak to the crowd based on evoking the emotions so that you get them charged up. When you go watch these Democratic and these Republican and these political rallies, you're charging the crowd, right? They'll talk to you about the crowd. The crowd is charged up. It's so much energy, right? They talk about charging the base. Yes, it's charging the energy through emotional energy, not logical, rational. That's why nobody's asking, okay, well, what's going to be the better economy once whoever we vote in, right? What are the logical steps, even though there are candidates that can break it down? But why don't you also defer to the one that you're voting for to say have a logical reasoning? No, because they're going to hit you with the fear. They're going to hit you with something that is going to evoke an emotion. Obama ran off hope, because he understood that he had to charge the emotion, and that emotional charging is poured into an entity to bring things into life. It's passion. But that's how you operate with a crowd. So therefore, the crowd is not best. The crowd is giving options, and then you charge the emotions of the crowd to see which options that they're going to choose. But you don't do it through logic, because you also understand that there can be a fool in a crowd, and there can be a scholar in the crowd. So therefore, the IQ of the crowd varies. So who do you appeal to? You appeal to the lowest common denominator, the lowest level of education inside the crowd, the lowest level of feeling inside the crowd. And in the crowd, you can't tell who is the scholar, who's the genius, or who's the fool. You don't know, because they're all doing the same thing. They're all doing the same thing. It's mass psychosis and hypnosis. So therefore, they're not planning for, they're not coming and talking to you about the affairs and how they're going to make things better for the next 100 years, because you don't care about that. You just surviving. You just want to get through next week, next month. You just want the feelings of hopelessness, of despair, of insecurity, things that they created, by the way. You just want them absolved. So if they can make you feel good, that'll be enough for you to vote for them. So we don't live in a democracy. We live in a republic. So human beings need councils that they trust, that are of the highest level of intelligence, with all the best ideas to push society better and further and farther. That's what we need. That's what we need. It's true. And we don't need them constantly changing out and out and out and out. No, we need a process of identifying who are the best and the brightest. And then we put them up there to say, okay, govern over the affairs. It's supposed to be what? The Supreme Court. But the Supreme Court is this council of judges that decide the fate. They're taking ancient, ancestral, and occult practices, right? And they have these small bodies of Congress and Supreme Court and these different people that's supposed to represent the people, but these are not people that are of spiritual righteousness and higher levels of intelligence. Nah, that's not what we're voting for. So now we have to get back to this point in society to understand that. We're not voting based on our cosmic selves. We're not voting based on our higher self. We're voting based on our lowest self. The things that we're caught up in, the identity politics of the day, it's low, it's sad. So we have a responsibility to evolve. And evolution does not come from the sense of going from apes to men. No, it's going from men to gods. But how do you tap into that mind of God? Number one, there were previous men that even if you didn't come from that bloodline, you can come from that thought line. And many of us come and ascend from intellectuals and scholars and philosophers. We study them. But unfortunately, in our culture, we can't to name our top 10 philosophers, but we can name our top 10 rappers. So that which we think that we're evolving upon by saying that I inspire to be like this person is actually devolving you, because there was somebody in your ancestral bloodline who was greater than that which you look up to. So you're not moving further and farther, you're moving lower. Oh, you want to be like this rapper? This rapper got all the problems and issues in the world. They're drug addicts. They getting messed out of their contracts. You know what I mean? They getting pimped by the devil and they shaming you every single day. And that's who you want to become? Why? Because of what he has, not because of who they are. So it becomes a world of ambition versus aspiration. The aspiration is the cosmic self. The ambition is the material self. What can I gain? Oh, I got cars, I got a house, I got money. Physical. But anything gained from the physical has to constantly be met in the physical, meaning that you have sex one time, you got to keep having sex in order to get that feeling. The memory of it won't be enough. No, you need the physical stimulation of the pleasure. But when it's mental, you can read a book one time and then it'll make you feel good 1,000 times, because that knowledge becomes infinite abundance. So, as I said before, because the magi, the imagination, the image that we have in our mind, which produces the reality that we see, is not based on the best of us. The best of us should always represent the rest of us. But currently, we have a culture that is not built on the best of us. It's built on the less of us. Those who come from places of survival, and yes, that are able to sometimes face extreme adversity, the traits that they have, the principles that they utilize, that's the best. Yes, that is amazing. But sometimes their virtues are not there. So we can see a man who is terrible and unrighteous and has nothing great about him, but he has all the things that we want materially. So you prop them up and say, I want to become like you. No, you don't want to become like that actual person. You want the principles, maybe the mindset, those little small things. But when we go look at the Olympics, what does the Olympics represent? It represents the best of us, at least physically, at least in a spiritual way, because physical fitness and activity and athleticism is spiritual kinesthetic intelligence. You have to learn how to breathe correctly. You have to produce your will. You have to visualize. They have to meditate. They have to forge alchemy to get over all of the doubts and pains and worries that the average person has, toppling that with all the observations and eyes, and turn all of that stress into a power in front of you to showcase the best of humanity. That's the best of us. So why then is that not how the melanated body and man and woman, why is that not our representation when we say this is our culture? Why is that not our representation when we say that's the culture? Why is that not the culture? Can somebody explain to me? Why is that not the culture when we say that's the culture? Our culture of resilience and adversity and brilliance and manifestation and alchemy. Why is that not the culture? Isn't that who we are? Have we not shown the world time and time and time and time again a man going from mere mortal to God in front of their eyes? Can we go back into our own history and go look at John Horse, a man who fought in the Seminole Wars, the American Wars, who fought for his slavery against the white man, against the Indian man, who fought in multiple wars as a general? Can we not go look at a man like that and say, man, that's our culture? Can we not go look at a Marcus Garvey who was building entire ship lines, right? And bringing people together and having movements of repatriation, right? And his movement was so powerful that there's an entire flag in Ghana because of that black star that he had. Isn't that not our culture as the most revolutionary social activist, empowering people to push the planet into fields of progressiveness? Isn't that not our culture? So when we go across the planet Earth, isn't that how they should see us? The W.E.B. Du Bois, the philosophers of our day, the Malcolm X's, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's, the Minister Farrakhan's, the Huey P. Newtons, the Sojourner Truths, the Harriet Tubmans. All of this vast entrepreneurship and social progress and consciousness that we have turned from being in the worst conditions to becoming the best and the brightest on the planet Earth. All of this evolution and intellect from our black bodies to our black minds, isn't that our culture? Then how come we get to a point where hip hop is only 50 years old? Only 50 years old. It's so young in the vastness of how long that we've been here creating culture. So you telling me we didn't have one before that? Nah, somebody lied. Because Malcolm X wasn't hip hop culture. He wasn't. He wasn't hip hop culture. Hip hop culture comes from that. Elijah Muhammad went hip hop culture. Hip hop culture comes from that. So we got to get to the root of it, who we really are. The Benjamin Bannekers, the Carter G. Woods, the Washington Carvers. That's our culture. That's the type of people that we really are. But why we can't get there is because they control media, which control the minds, which control the attitude, controls the way we see ourselves. So therefore, we limit it based on who we think we are. Because they keep telling us this is our culture. Well, is it a good culture? Does it really represent our cosmic selves, our higher selves? Because the best of us should represent the rest of us, right? So does it represent the best of us? I don't think so. It represents one skill set. It represents some of our traits of brilliance and adversity and things of that nature. So when I go all the way across the pond, I go to Africa and I go to UK, and I was in the president's office in Ghana, and the secretary to the president, I say, do you know who Malcolm X is? And she said, no, I don't. I said, well, do you know who 50 Cent is? She said, yeah, of course. I said, that's sad. So you're going to relate me to a 50 Cent. You see me walking with my energy, but you wouldn't relate me to a Malcolm X because you don't even know. So for you, our culture is, hey, what's up, my nigga? So you might say that when you see me because you don't know the peace to the God. How you doing? So we're misrepresented everywhere across the planet Earth because of what they're saying, what our culture is, what they're exporting, this image. And all people across the planet Earth for the diaspora are misrepresented. Your cosmic self is not the representation of it. It's your lower self that is represented in the world. So that what you think you are, they can't see you because they don't show it. But then when we go show the Asian man, it's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Bruce Lee. Oh man, it's Warrior Samurai. You know what I'm saying? This Monkey Man shooting powers, this Dragon Ball Z. We see the greatest version of their mythical cosmic selves. When the white man is represented by the Wolverines and the Iron Mans and the Supermans getting his power from the sun, and the Greek gods and the Zeuses and the Thors. The image of that, the feeding of the imagination into the self-esteem of the young child makes them believe that they can do and be anything. So 99% of the time, we're shown as villains We're not showing us the Heru, the heroes. There's an erasure of your mythical and cosmic self on this planet Earth. They get mad talking about DEI. Well, if you go look at the Olympics, DEI is doing really good, because if it wasn't for the diversity, equity, inclusion of the Olympics, America wouldn't be bringing home no gold. If it wasn't for DEI in America, you talk about immigration. Are y'all mad about immigrants? Really, Europeans? In the UK, they mad about all of the immigrants coming over and taking over? Well, it's funny because your country was built off shipping black bodies to build empires. Now you don't want to see them. But you don't understand the karma of your colonization, the karma of your slavery. Oh, you mad now? Now you don't want, now stop coming over. Well, we never asked to come over. And those who was already over here, we never asked you to come over. So now you have to deal with your cosmic destiny. The stars have aligned. The stars have aligned, and we here. And who benefits more from the stars than us? We literally benefit from the stars more than any people on this planet Earth. Oh, it's hot outside. Well, my melanin takes that particular electromagnetic energy and it converts it into energy. So something that would normally be harsh and radiation, my melanin literally is meant to store that so that I can run off that energy, because I got a cosmic body. That's why I'm so dark. Oh, that's an easy story to tell because it's based on science. But why come they tried to trick you and they created an inverse reality? So the correlation that you have to your darkness is not greatness. So when you see a darkened man, because in the mind, the darker the melanin, the better. In the eyes, the darker the melanin, you can see more spectrum, more clear, farther. Everywhere inside the body and on the planet Earth, darkness represents the condensing of energy and power, but they've tricked your mind to view things differently. So now when you see your darkness, you're not correlating with the mythical cosmicness of the mythos that's shown all across the TV, because they never wanted you to correlate such, because they don't want you to have that divine confidence where you start taking back a planet naturally. Notice I said naturally. Naturally. Think about that. So now it is our job, when we create things, when we produce things, we have to show ourselves based on who our real correct culture is. Black men, I'm gonna tell you all something you might not know about yourself. You are the greatest influencers on the planet Earth. You're the greatest health advocates on the planet Earth. You're the greatest community organizers and social advocates on the planet Earth. But that's not the culture that they show of us. They show us as the biggest drug dealers and gangsters and pimps on the planet Earth. They don't want you to correlate yourself with such. And of course, we are the greatest athletes on the planet Earth. Wouldn't that benefit everybody to say, let's make more content so that these people that, if you claim to be so bad, that's doing all this criminality and drugs, wouldn't you then want to manipulate them to see themselves more than that so that they can rise out of it? That makes sense, because the CIA has developed the knowledge of mind control. The government understands how to manipulate mass groups of people into believing in themselves or being activated by their lower desire. So why do they choose not to? Because when they do it for their children, they understand when there's negative images, because if their children are showing themselves effeminate, then all of a sudden they're in an uproar. Well, why? You telling me that media matters? Representation matters? Oh, you mad at representation, but you haven't been mad that we have been misrepresented for the last 100 years in Hollywood. Oh, now when it's affecting you, you can feel it, you can see it. Well, feel that. I don't feel you. You supposed to feel that. You supposed to feel the karma of what you've done to us for generations. How you put money behind the projects that show us in a lower and degraded state. Oh, you think I'm supposed to feel sorry? No, I don't feel sorry for you. That's your karma coming back on you. You green lighted all of this. So now you deserve it as well. It's the side effects of being a devil to a God. So it's our cosmic destiny. It's our cosmic destiny to take over. And that has to be by the best of us. So now as we move, when you see the Gabby Douglases, when you see the Shakara Richardsons, right? When you see all these people out there doing these beautiful things, remember that's what represents us. The best of us represents the rest of us. And that means that that's what we should be pushing to aspire to. And that's what we have to remind them. That is our culture. It's an aspirational culture, not an ambitions culture. Not about what we obtain, it's about who we become at our core. So now let's plan for the next 25,000 years. How do you do that? Well, you don't look at local events. Those are just drops in the bucket of time. Those things don't really have that much power. They want you to believe that they have that much power. But God doesn't plan based on presidential cycles. A God don't plan based on no presidential cycles. Is you crazy? That good gold water hit me today, Solomon. That good gold water hit me today. Oh, that lion's mane hit me today. That's all I had. Make sure y'all you're enjoying this live. Make sure you support it by going to goldwater.com. Use code 30 high level, get 30% off. No, God don't plan by that. So why are you fearful of it? Those are just drops in the bucket. Those are small things. For a year, I ain't worried about that. You plan 25,000 years in ahead by zooming out. You look at the cosmos. What time are we living in? What time are we living in? Isn't this the age of Aquarius? That's what I heard. I heard it was the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius. So what does that mean then? What does it mean as far as the planet Earth going through shifts? How are we supposed to react? What is supposed to happen? So if we move and we plan accordingly to us being in a new age, and we start operating based on what we've already been told by the scientists and the mystics and the astronomers and visionaries, and we shift from the Piscean age of authority, control, and hierarchy structures to a time of unity and innovation and collective consciousness, then that means that those things that are aligned with the time of unity, innovation, and collective consciousness will win. Those things that are just aligned based on authority, control, and hierarchical structures, they will not be successful anymore because we're living in a time of a shift. So the consciousness of the planet Earth is shifting. The things that we value have shifted. Technological advancement is supposed to happen during this time because we're supposed to be more efficient. We're supposed to help human beings get away from the mundane jobs that they're living that don't provide purpose because they can't use their gifts at McDonald's. They can't use their gifts at Starbucks. They can't use their gift working at Staples. So therefore, there's a technological shift so that it can bring in this new time that we're living in. So that means that if you understand the time that you're living in, you embrace it. Look at this Gen Z. The Gen Zs are not buying for the same reasons that we used to buy. They're not buying because everybody got to this on a celebrity. They buying if it invokes inspiration in their spirit. They evokes if they feel connected to a community around it. Then they want to tap in. They don't care because it's on Nike. No, they need to be inspired first because they are focused on the humanity of it. Then you connect that to a cause that can help other people out. Then it's humanitarianism. Now they're loving it. Things that foster community and growth. Why? Because we are of a different age. It goes from individualism to the needs of the many, the collective, where we no longer separate, work from spirituality, but they're intertwined on a daily. So now if you're building according to that, to those same sciences in your business, in your brand, in your personal development, now you will be in flow with the shifts of the times. Welcome to the age of Aquarius. They were singing that in the 60s. But see, we stopped operating You understand me? Because we got so high, we got on so many drugs, we lost our militant consciousness to put order to that. So therefore, our parents and great grandparents, they wasn't planning based on this cosmic observation and their cosmic identity. Because if they was, they would have understand that, oh, okay, this technology supposed to shift. Let's embrace it when it comes. It's about collectiveness. Let's build communities. See, some wise men and women did, and so that's what they did. The age of Pisces has dominated for the last 2,000 years. Now we're in a different energy. We're in a different time. So what will be, will be. We have to embrace intellectual curiosity because we now have more access than any other human beings on the planet Earth. We now have to be able to take this energy and allow it to flow through us because we have more energy than anybody on the planet Earth, any other time. Most people, they used to be stuck in the sphere of thinking. All they knew was what was in their holy book, what came from their school, what was in their environment, what was in the newspaper, the gossip around town. Now, you live in a time where you have access to the collective consciousness of the planet Earth. Well, that's so much knowledge and that's so much information. Look what it's doing to the average mind. You would think that, oh man, if I get access to all of this, I'm going to change the world. Well, you can't change the world if you don't develop yourself. So it's certain things that there's no point of fighting. What you want to do is to make sure that you're prepared for it. You have to be prepared for the things to come. So you prepare by knowing, by thinking above self, and then preparing to be in flow. But we now in a time, and 8-day portal day is a day of divine communication. That's why I'm speaking to your higher self. I'm speaking to our higher selves because we need to focus on evolving and we need to focus on the immortalism of the great ones. We need to focus on making sure that we are in position and connected to our higher self. We need to honor and respect the best of us right now, triumphantly. Only the best of us right now deserve to be pushed to the top. And I'm talking about the best, those who use their gifts well and develop their gifts well. We can't afford to be pushing those who represent our lowest self to the top because it is taking us down. And you're wondering why things are not working for you, why things may not be flowing for you. Because you may not be aspiring to your higher self. You may be bowing down to your lower desires. Anytime we do that during this age, it's going to double the punishment on ourselves. But anytime we bow to our higher selves, it's going to double the reward to our higher self. Oh, you're going to get so blessed. But stress during this time, it's going to take you out. You're not supposed to stress during these times. You're not. You're supposed to embrace. You have to embrace right now. That's the only thing to do. But if you're stressing during this time, you're losing yourself twice. You're losing yourself. God don't want you to stress. Your higher self not supposed to stress because it shows your lack of knowing yourself when you're stressed. What you stressing for? Oh, you don't know what time it is. You ever get late for something and you start stressing? That's because you don't know what time it is. And then once you realize what time it is, you're trying to get ready so goddamn fast. You trying to get ready as fast as possible. You start stressing. So now not only you late, right? You're going through a mental stress. So now, yes, you're losing twice. Don't make no damn sense. So no, we don't stress. We calm because we know we gods. So I appreciate y'all tapping in. And during this time, I want you to just meditate on that which you want to elevate. Meditate on that which you want to elevate. Meditate on that which you want to have brought into your existence. Meditate on everything that you want to have brought to you. I want you to observe the best of yourself only during this time, the times where you have accomplished, the times you have produced. And I want you to focus on investing into that person, investing into that one. I remember when I started taking gold water about 6, 7 years ago. And it was literally because I wanted to be at my higher self. I wake up and my mind wasn't always clear. It'd have fogginess. I wouldn't be able to just flow like this at first. I wake up with fogginess and I never like, why is it taking me so long to get ready? And I realized that, sometimes we eat for our immune system, but our brain has a glymphatic system. And a glymphatic system is where you operate with that cerebral fluid that flushes over the brain after the more you are awake, the more you build up neurotoxins on the brain and start building up little junk on the brain. You have to cleanse that out so the brain is operating clearly. And so I started taking the gold water and it made me want to work out more. And I just felt infinitely strong. I'm gonna post a video. I used to grab 100-pound weights and I put it on my legs. And this I'm probably around 160 pounds. I'm around 220 now. So, it's a little different kind of strength, but I'm up there working out. And I felt good. I started running. I felt good. And it started feeding my energy. And I would start meditating, right? And I start lucid dreaming. And during this time, I just be thinking about my highest self. Like, man, one day I'm going to be this big. One day I'm going to have some money. I'm going to have the influence. I'm going to change the world. And I used to start creating my own portal days. It wasn't just on 8/8. I said every 19th is going to be my portal day. Every 19th is going to be my portal day. You put this on a charger, it just died. So I start creating my own days of high level observation. So therefore, I had the ability to apply meaning to the otherwise meaningless. And I start adding that mineral and it started helping my aura just increase and go at higher levels and higher levels and higher levels. And everything that I meditated during that time came true. I became exactly what I saw and who I saw because I was connected to my divine cosmic self. And now it's time to go higher. Now it's time to evolve. Now I'm not just thinking about who am I in the future. I'm thinking about who we were in the past. Because there's higher versions of myself in the past. There's higher versions of myself in the past, meaning that if there was an ancestor who can think better than me, speak better than me, move better than me, that's a version of myself that I can tap into and download so that I can utilize that right now. I can take their intellect and their philosophies and I can evolve it into modern day. And that to me is evolution. That to me is evolution. That's cosmic identity. But we let too many of our ancestors die because we don't live through them. We don't advance what they've done. So the goal is not going from a good culture to a bad culture or a new culture. The goal is to go to an advanced culture. If you are spiritual, but you don't know how to get money, oh no, we got to shift that. Now is the time to see the spirituals understand the technology so that they can advance and build structure and order. We have to be advanced versions of all of our past selves. So we look at our ancestors and we respectfully see what they had, but we also notice what they were missing. And we add that resource into this time. So therefore we can advance on that mind. So you somebody that makes money but still spiritually disconnected? No, we have to intertwine both of them. So now you not only know how to operate within a capitalist structure, but you do it for social good and interest so that it's done for the good and the virtue of humanity at the same time. Advancement is the key of the day. Advance into your cosmic self, advance into your mystical self, operate all of your gifts. In a high level club, This one is going to be the High Level Mastery Club. I want to be teaching week to week to guide you into that transformation of self, to help you unleash that God mind. Now, I'm not going to be able to take everybody because the people that I'm working with directly. I'm going to know your name. We're going to be a part of the same community. We're going to make sure that we develop in technology and AI and learning how to create our personal brands and our content, learning how to master the art of communication, which will set you to that next level. And once you get to that level, now you will start seeing success compile within your life. So those who feel like they're ready to get to that next level, who want to get those results, who want to start reaching success, who want to be able to create the right relationships and move about this world and travel freely as they wish, come tap in and use the high level method. We'll teach you how to master these different areas in life, not just to be good at one. No, we want you to be good at the many. But when you master the mind and you develop the concept of the mind to start high level thinking, because 80% mindset, 20% skill set. So when you develop a high level mindset, you can master any skill set. Make sure you apply. Go to 19keys.com. We're going to be getting started this Sunday with the call. We're going to be breaking it down in 6 weeks. You're going to get access to the ebooks. You're going to get access to me. We're going to be going week to week. There's going to be events, travel, things of that nature included. It's going to set some of you all to be leaders of this next round, to be leaders of your family, be leaders of yourself. And that's what we're looking for. So those who are accepted, those who applied themselves, congratulations. Those who are still waiting on you to catch up with where you are, you're not ready for that higher self, I understand. But today is a day for a reason. Today is one of those days where you decide to stop waiting and start doing. To start unleashing your destiny, to stop having those limited thinking, to stop having all of that doubt, stop having all those worries, stop having all that insecurity, stop having all of that fear. And you know how to plan, you know how to grow, you know how to execute, you know how to learn, you know how to develop yourself. You start seeing your 100% self start to activate. You start seeing your body, you start feeling you have more energy, your core is together, you walking around, you know how to think things through. You know to have clear thinking, there's less stress, there's less procrastination in your life. You start to feel the pleasure of execution and you start to take on challenge and feel the reward of getting it done because you're operating with that high level thinking. You become an ascended master. I appreciate you, family. I appreciate y'all tapping in and you taking out this time of your day. And this has been your divine message. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, 19 Keys. Thank you for everybody that has given to the channel. Continue to do so because we do all of this 100% independent. You know, mainstream media, you know, they don't want to sponsor us, but we get sponsored by the people. You want to advertise on this channel, all you got to go to 19 keys and 19keys.com. You want to see yourself, you want to get more exposure, you want to grow, you want to partner with us so we can help take your brand and accelerate it to the next level. All you got to do is partner with us. Go to 19 keys and 19keys.com. Email us at 19keys and 19keys.com. Today is that portal day to ask the universe for all the things that you want. Because what you're doing is you're projecting that image on a day where there's high energy. It's like the Super Bowl. Everybody's watching. The energy is high. Put it out there. You want millions? Focus on it. Visualize it. Write it down. Execute. Make a plan. Get it done. We have so many people now that is hitting us up to do sponsorships because I'm putting the energy out there. And then when they come on, we taking their business to the next level. Then we got all these testimonials that we giving to everybody else. Now there's this long line of people that's emailing us at 19keys and 19keys.com. Now we have the most sponsored channel on the planet Earth because we have so many people that realize that if you want to connect to real people, then you got to connect through real people. This is a campaign. We're taking it to that next level because I want to make sure that everything we push is all about the best of us representing the rest of us. On 19 Keys, y'all stay up. Y'all stay abundant. Keep those portals open. Go to goldwater.com. Use 30. What was the code? 30 high level at checkout. Get 30% off. Peace to the gods. I'm out.